Well, hello there, people, and welcome back to Destroyer Dan, where, as always, we play the game Axis and Allies. And this week, I'm really excited because we got a new game. We've got North Africa. That is the game that we are going to be playing today. Now, recently, there's been a bunch of hubbub because the game Stalingrad has come out. And, you know, the day after I ordered North Africa, Stalingrad became available on Amazon. So, you know, that's just my luck. I guess we're going to be late to the party on that one as well. But other than that, I've been doing a lot of research on this game in the past week or two. In particular, I watched a really good video by Gary over at Board Game Nation. He goes real in-depth with that rule book, and it was actually really helpful because it helped to fill in a lot of the blanks because I have yet to even set this game up. You know, this could be a little interesting. If I get anything wrong, I'm sure you'll all let me know in the comments. But without further ado, let's get to it, get this game set up, and get to rolling. And there it is, the Rommel's Last Push setup. Got the round tracker all set up, ready to go. As always, the first time I set up a version I've never played before, it just seems like there's less pieces on the board than what I was expecting. You know, I was expecting the initial setup to be a lot more complicated, and maybe that's when you watch videos of other people playing games that you've never played before. It doesn't really mean a whole lot to you till you see it in front of your face. This is definitely the first time I've ever seen this game set up in person. So this is definitely going to be a learning experience. I'm very interested to see how the supply dynamic is going to play. I think it was Hilltop Pillbox that said this is just, it's Axis and Allies in name only. This is, you know, it's in the universe of the original game, but this is its own animal. And so, let's get in here and dive into round one of Rommel's Last Push. So here we are on the first attack. The Germans are coming from Alagala into Mursa Barrega. And I've had to consult the rulebook like 3 times before I even rolled any dice. This is a bit of a learning curve, but I already, because of the scout cars coming in, I already pulled a supply. I got the bomber attacking for the Germans, so I'm gonna pull another one. I always try to film at least one round of rolling per turn in these games, and I don't really know how to do that because, like, there's no battle board for this game. I don't know, I guess I just gotta figure out how to set this up every time. But basically the Germans are coming in here with an artillery, anti-tank gun, 1 mech, 2 tanks, a fighter and a bomber, plus this scout car, which is flanking, so he gets to re-roll if his 1 round is a failure. The old Brits here have an infantry, artillery, a tank, and a truck. So they take this thing and they could capture that truck. So now we know exactly what we're working with here. I'm gonna put the camera on the rolling box, which is what I'm assuming they did this for in here. So that's what we're gonna use it for. I'm gonna start off with that bomber, maybe. Well, no, we gotta start. Sherman's got that anti-tank gun. I am such a fish out of water here. This is the first round of combat only, so the anti-tank gun has got to hit on a 3. And if he gets a 3, he gets to take out that Matilda. And that's 5. That does not apply. So now we'll do that bomber because he gets a targeted attack. And once again, we're going after that Matilda. So this is a 5. So this should, you'd think, 50-50. And a 7. Alright, so we got mech is supported by artillery. These guys are shooting at a 3. And no hits. Let's do the scout car, because he's 1 and done. And that's a miss. Didn't even get a chance to use his reroll on that flanking attack. And now we've got 2 tanks. So these are at 5. No hits. Wow. And the fighter, which is a 4. Finally, there is 1 hit. All right, so the Brits they are going to defend. So I'm going to use up 1 supply to do so. Then the infantry and the artillery are both 3s. There's 1 hit. And now the Matilda, which is a 4. Oh no, that's a 5 on defense. And there's another hit. What a decision. I think they're going to press on. They really need to. You know what? I'm going to call it off. That was a really clunky opening round of combat. That went so poorly for them. Those Italians can come right in. So you know what? No, we're going to keep going. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Yeah, we are going to do it again. So we'll do the bomber with the targeted attack on a 5. And there's a hit. Probably should have said that before I rolled, but you know, that's a bonus you get when you play with yourself.
Have you no shame?
And of course that's gonna go straight onto the Matilda. So now we've got a anti-tank gun, which is gonna shoot on a 3. And that's 4. We've got a fighter, which is a 4. And that's an 8. We've got 2 Panzer IVs. Nope. No bones. A 3 for the artillery for the Brits, and that's 7. And a 5 on that Matilda before it goes bye-bye. And that is a 9, it appears. Just burning up the supplies. So at this point, it just kind of swung back the other way. So the Germans are definitely going to go for it again. The bomber's a 5, and the German tanks are also 5s on attack. So I'm going to do those 3 dice at the same time. Speed this up a little bit here. And 1 hit. Let's see if the artillery takes anybody with him. And he does not. So that's it. So, I mean, that was a really, really clunky first round of combat for sure. And I think it's just this game is going to take a learning curve. So, I'm going to try and bumble my way through the rest of this round. Alrighty, round 1 is in the books. And boy, you want to talk about a learning curve? This game has definitely got one. That took me a very, very long time to bumble through the first turn. But you know what? We got it.
Hey, look! I made it! I made it! Look! Oh, yeah?
I think we're figuring this out. It really, truly is a whole different animal. And I'm constantly having to look at the rules, look at the reference cards, so it's really nice that they included these in here. Very helpful. Once you get the motions down, I think this is going to be a much faster game than the other iterations of Axis and Allies that we're used to. And so to start off, the Germans came in and took Mersa Barrega. The first round of combat went really, really bad for them, but they pressed on, and eventually the British faltered. They captured the British truck, and the Italians came and they moved a bunch of supplies over. The Italians sent 2 tanks into Benghazi because the Brits pulled everything back. Kind of the way that they're all scattered about here. Just about everything in Cairo could get over thanks to the trucks. Pulled all the supplies back, kind of left these 2 blockers out here. I don't know if that is a strategy that you should have in this game, but it just kind of feels weird leaving flanks open like that. I'm kind of liking these scout cars. When I first started looking into the game, I didn't know how useful they were going to be because they don't hit very high, but just the fact that if you send them into battle, they can knock a supply off the enemy. That's pretty valuable. The thing that I've kind of noticed is with the 10-sided die, it seems like it's a lot harder to get hits. And so you kind of have a really good chance with these little buggers to get in there and knock a supply out and get the hell out of Dodge. I think that's pretty cool. We had a sea battle in Sea Zone 20. The Brits moved their battleship and destroyer up, and the Italians sent all the air power they had in Sicily. The battleship and British destroyer were sunk, and the Italians only lost a submarine.
Yeah!
So that was good for them. Got our convoys loaded up. We got plenty of supplies coming in. And the thing that I really, it's kind of a real struggle. You really have to think about what you're doing is getting used to these stacking limits. Everything here is legal, I think. Basically, everything here is as full as it can be. And it's gonna make taking this stuff kind of tricky. Especially when you're trying to take spaces that have higher stacking limits than the spaces that you're trying to take it from. I think that's where your air power, as long as you have a place where you can land those guys, I think that's where that's gonna come in to be pretty important in this game. Every Axis and Allies game is about thinking ahead. That is definitely paramount in this version of this game. You got to be thinking what you're doing, you know, not only next turn, but several turns in the future. Because I can tell, once I get the hang of this is going to start going fast. So the Axis are going to keep pushing forward and see if they can make it to Cairo. We'll come back at you after round 2. We are officially done with round 2, and things have certainly progressed. And the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that it has literally been over a month between turn 1 and turn 2. So it was just as clunky as the first round, because I essentially had to learn how to play the game all over again.
Years of academy training wasted!
But your old pal Dano's kind of a busy guy, so this kind of stuff's gonna happen. And that's why videos are kind of a long time in between on this channel. But you know what? We're getting there, and I think the more that I'm playing this, you know, it's clunky right now, just trying to learn some of the elements, but I really do think that this is gonna be a really fun game. It's very fast-paced. Of course, the big trick in the beginning is learning what you're doing. So to summarize, so the Germans came in and they took Benghazi. There was only one British infantry there, so it really was not much to them, and they were able to move stuff up pretty quickly. And I remember when I did round 1, I was kind of like, man, how are they supposed to do this? But, you know, once you get those convoys in place and then get everybody rolling and using your trucks, and yeah, I can kind of see how they actually do stand a shot here. And so with the Brits, the only moves that the Brits made was just they attacked with scout cars, like did some supply raiding at Mersa Barega, kind of moved their scout cars back here to kind of help with the defense. Tobruk is kind of a salient, right? And so the Italians came in and they took Bir Hakeim. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'll play that battle right now because that was probably the most interesting battle. I mean, they weren't really big this turn. I think the big battles are coming. So to start off, we're gonna do the scout car that's flanking because that's easy. And you get to re-roll. And he gets to re-roll. And you get a hit. How about that? We're gonna take that on the scout car. Let's do the air power first. Italians, they're 2 fighters. So these are gonna be a 4. And no potatoes. Now the bomber, this could be a 6. And there's another hit. So we'll take that on the other scout car. There were no supplies to raid in the defending territory. Here's the 2 Italian artillery. And what are they gonna be? A 3. 1 hit. They actually might do this.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Lose the British infantry. And now the Italian tanks, which are pretty gutless, as they were in history. Another hit. So they did it. By Jod, the Italians did it. So let's see how much it's gonna hurt them. We'll do the 2 British scout cars. They gotta get a 1, so probably not. Nope. Infantry. It's a 3. Nope. And the tank, the Matilda, which is a 5 on defense. And there's a hit. So Italians are probably going to take that one on an artillery. And that concludes this here battle. And so I'll actually hand it to the Italians. I didn't know if they were, you know, they hit so low. When you kind of look at everything they got, all their stuff is not that great except for the bomber. They got like the highest bomber hit in the game. But other than that, their infantry hits less, their artillery's on par, but their tanks are super weak. Like, their tanks are basically like, they're no different than their artillery. And of course, the cost equals out. And so they do have better movement. But compared to the other powers' tanks, I mean, which the Italian tanks are notoriously bad, so I guess it's understandable. The Brits, in their convoys, they got some sea power coming in.
Allow me. What are you, an idiot?
You know, it's kind of interesting with this dynamic in the early game. You're planning this stuff out 3 turns in advance, so we'll see how this turns out. They have one more round of getting in only a few units, and then they can start getting some more meaningful firepower in here, like this bomber's coming. But with Germany taking Benghazi, this does open up the Benghazi convoy zone. So now it's really going to be a rush on Cairo, because now they're going to be able to get all their stuff much quicker into the fight. And so I do not see Tobruk holding out, especially maybe not next turn, but the turn after that. They'll definitely be able to be attacked from multiple sides if they're still holding on. That's why, as the Brits, I took the trucks and I got supplies out. We're not evacuating everybody yet, because we do kind of want to still put some punch in and not just give it to the Germans. But next turn, the Germans all their units are stacked to the limit. The Germans have everything that they can possibly shove in here, and so do the Italians beforehand too. And so they're going to have to start moving. And that kind of goes to the advantage of the Allies over here, because in Cairo, they can stack 13 units where you're only allowed 8 at Mersa Matruh. So it's going to take multiple rounds of wearing these guys down in order for the Axis to take it. So we'll see. Maybe it will be a fast game if the dice are on fire, kind of like those Italians were taking Bir Hakeim. They roll pretty good. And so we are moving on to round 3, and we will bring you back after the action. All right, we are officially on round 4, which means the Brits can requisition these here Sherman tanks. And round 3 was probably the most action that's happened in the game so far. Germans came from Benghazi and they took Tobruk. And without further ado, I will play that battle right now. Alright, so the Battle of Tobruk is about to begin. The thing about this game is I'm still very clunky at it. I'm still really trying to figure out how you do stuff. And I think I've done this right. So the Germans are attacking Tobruk. Now they split their forces. They sent these 2 tanks and 3 mechs over here to Bir Hakeim. They left a tank and a 88 and 2 infantry in Benghazi. And then the rules with flanking dictates that the larger attack is the main attack. So that would make this one be the main attack. So that's why the supply is up. And then the guys that are coming from Benghazi, that is technically a flank attack. All the German attacks have been declared. I believe now is the time that we detonate the mines. Now there's 3 of them there. The Brits also have anti-aircraft guns, but I think we need to do the mines first. Do the mines. Each one has 3 possible chances of stopping an attacker. They are against the line that is doing the flanking attack. Yeah, I don't think these guys are gonna last here. I believe that they are getting kicked out right now. It's not really practical that the Germans would use those mines because of the border that they're on, but I'm gonna blow them all up. I don't know. I'm still really new to this game, so that's what we're doing. So 1 mine, and that is 1 hit. So 1 unit has to stay behind. I'm gonna pick one of the infantry is gonna stay. Now we've got 2 more mines to do. And that's another hit. So we'll keep that 2nd infantry behind. And now we've got 1 more mine to blow up. That's a 2. So all 3 of those got a hit. Jace, do you wanna anti-tank? The 88 is staying behind. So now the only thing that's actually flanking is a tank. Got 2 AA guns. Doesn't really matter because there's 3 planes, so let's see. 2. Alright, so they lost a plane. That is a hit. AA guns are 2 or less, and that would be a 2. So I guess we're gonna lose the BF 109. Dice have been pretty hot for the British here, this rolling round.
Yeah, baby.
So, we've got 3 mechs for the Germans attacking. So they need to get a 2. And they got a 1. So there's a hit. And now we've got 2 tanks. And these have got to be a 5. And there's 2 more hits. They were hits before I flopped them around. Same with those 10-sided die. You gotta watch them things. They'll move. Was I supposed to do something? I don't even know what I'm doing here. I think I was supposed to roll the bombers first. Okay, I didn't need to roll the bombers first. What a catastrophe. But I do get to pick, if they're hits, I do get to, the Brits are gonna lose 1 supply. It doesn't matter how many bombers you have going. So they lost one of their 5 supplies. They had 10, they had 20 before I moved 10 back to Cairo. But I have a feeling that the Brits are not long for this world in Tobruk. So now these 2 bombers with their targeted attack, they gotta get 5. And that would be 2 more hits that are targeted. So I'm gonna say go after them 2 Matildas. So them guys are definitely out. As the Brits, I want to lose, so there was these 3 other hits, so we're losing an infantry and the 2 AA guns, because, well, they're pretty useless now. And then the Jerrys, they get their 1 tank that did not get hit by a mine on the flanking attack, so 8+, this gets to be re-rolled, and it's a 2. So 4 hits. Boy, that's everything but the fighter in a single clean sweep. So we're gonna do the anti-tank guns first. There are 2, because they get targeted attacks. But it's only this round. So they need a 2. No, 3, because they're defending. 3. And that's no cigarillos. So that didn't matter. So now we got 3 infantry. We will do those guys tan. And then we get 2 Matildas. So 3 and 4 subsequently. Well, that's a hit for sure. That's another hit. So 2 hits. And then we have a fighter. I'm going to defend at 5. And there's another hit. 3 hits. We're going to take them all on the mechs. I think between 3 tanks and 2 Stukas, we can smash that remaining British fighter. Use up our supply tokens. And we are going to press the attack, bring in some more supplies. Man, you gotta use... Tank coming from the other one is using a whole supply from Benghazi. So it's 2 supplies to have 3 tanks attack. But that's alright. That's what we gotta do. 3 German tanks. And that is 1 hit. And I would have been able to re-roll 1 of those because of... Nah, whatever. Doesn't matter. That's all we needed. And then the fighter on the defense. And that would be a 9, so that's a no. Out she goes. Germany has taken Tobruk.
Well, this is editing Dan here. You can tell because I'm in the truck, not my basement anymore. This was a pretty big screw up. I don't know if I felt the need to record this because I wasn't really sure if the text was clear, but I messed up pretty bad on that battle. I forgot about 3 British units. Now it was an infantry, 2 anti-tank guns. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not like they were high-hitting units, but still, they could have taken some targets with them. And there definitely would have needed to be more rolling to actually finish that out. Did it truly affect the impact of the game? Probably. But you know what? That's kind of something that happens when you play alone. Because if you're playing with somebody else, you kind of feed off each other and you kind of depend on each other like, hey man, you screwed that up. Oh, thanks. If my opponent had done that in a game and forgot that they had units, I would have told them, because if I beat them by just omitting, like knowing they made a mistake and leaving that out, that wouldn't feel genuine to me. The thing about this channel is I'm never gonna lie to you guys. I'm never gonna act like I'm better at this than I am. I made a pretty big mistake, so I'm leaving it in here. And the real funny part is that I didn't even catch that the first time I edited out that battle. I've been experimenting because there's no battle board on North Africa, so I had the idea to put these overlays on for the battle. A, that takes a really long time to do, by the way. But B, it was actually seeing that out there, I realized, hey, wait a minute, those guys didn't get hit. They didn't get taken out. And it's way too late. So unfortunately, we have to move on. It's kind of something that happens. Yeah, I messed up. At the end of the day, it's not like it was a tournament or anything. It was just me. We're going to get back into the regular video, resume our regular scheduled programming.
And so as you can see, the only units that made it were the 3 tanks, but man, how about them landmines? Slowing up all those extra units. So what happened was after the Germans took that, pretty much this was everything the British had was right here. And so I'm actually kind of sweating it because the Axis might win. All they gotta do is take Cairo, and they instantly win. And my understanding of this game is that they either win really quickly, like kind of what's might be looking like is happening here, or it's down to the very end. There's like no in between. The only thing the British have going for them, after they pulled what units they had in Mersa Matruh back to Cairo, which then combined with what came off the convoy, and so they got a little bit of stuff there. I forgot about the stacking limits when I put all the German stuff on the Benghazi convoy. And so, because the convoys advance before you make combat moves, there was no space. So they all had to stay out there on the transports. And if I would have had a British bomber, you know, I really could have done something about that. And I do have a British landmine, but I'm still a little meh on when exactly you're supposed to detonate that. Like, I got it down when you're supposed to. It's just a matter of remembering to do it. All the Brits left in Mersa Matruh was a scout car. And so it had 3 Italian tanks and an artillery. They came through Bir Hakeim, and then they took that out. So now the Italians are actually, they're in position that they can make an assault on Cairo. Next turn, I don't know if they're going to be successful, because the first like real purchasing convoy from the Brits will finally be arriving, so they're actually going to have quite a bit of stuff that will come on before the Italians actually get to go. So I guess I don't know what we're going to do. I think the Italians are going to have to go for it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because they're in the way. I guess the Italians' job is going to be to soften that up as much as they can.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Realistically, the turn after, because I screwed up the convoy, the Germans aren't even going to be able to come for a couple turns. They're not going to have it together. Once they actually get that on the ground, they're going to have a pretty big stick to swing. But that's going to be the trick, is getting it over here. And I think maybe, I'm kind of 50-50 on how this is going to go. I think the Brits are going to hold out and we're going to go for a full game. But how will it go in round 4? We'll find out in just a few. We are officially on to round 5, and the biggest elephant, or lack thereof, in the room is, yeah, those Italians, man, what an absolute piss-poor performance, to say the least. I mean, they had Soviet dice. They went all in on Cairo, and I'm just gonna go ahead and play that battle. The Brits, they do have enough, I think. There's no way the Italians are going to take it. Because when you look at the stats for the Italian units, they're pretty weak. Like, they're pretty cheap, but they don't really do a whole lot. You know, Italian tanks are basically artillery that have an extra movement point, and they cost the same. There will come a point in this game when it really won't make any sense to buy Italian tanks. The Italians have mustered everything they possibly can throw to at least soften up Cairo, because the way the turn order works is that Germany will get to go again. We're going to roll this out here. So the first thing that we need to clarify or resolve is Word. There's 3 landmines. I'll blow up one because I really want to save them for them Germans that are coming next turn. Here's 3 dice for the landmine for the Italians. And nada. Let's start with the 3 Italian. No, let's start with the scout car because it's the most pathetic. Although, just looking at the stats, the Axis scout cars hit better on defense. I did not realize that till right now. So it's got to be a 2. He only gets to go for 1 round of combat, but he gets to raid a supply. You get to raid the supply and you get to target that bomber sitting there. So that's what we're going to do. I knew there was a reason I put that scout car in there. And that's a 4. That is a no hit. So we got 3 infantry. Wow! Too bad they weren't flanking. They'd get to reroll all those. So now the artillery, which is in its own a 3. No hit. And now we've got 3 Italian tanks. And that is a no hit. Really not doing that great, boys. We've got 2 fighters at 4. No hits. And 1 bomber at 6. Wow. They did not score a single hit. They're taking a supply token because the bombers get to do that. So now the Brits are going to fire back because they have to. We've got an anti-tank gun. We'll do that first for the targeted attack. So that is a 3 on defense. Ha! Whammo! Italian tank goes down. So now we've got 5 infantries. 3. 1 hit. 2 artillery. And 5 and 7, that's a nope. 3 Matildas. These guys defend on a 5. And that's 2 more hits. And then the bomber, which has got to be a 1. Oh, so close. Unreal. They still got 3 hits. So the Italians are going to take that on a scout car and 2 infantry. And now, since they are trying to soften for the Germans, I don't really care about my Italians. We're going to send them into the meat grinder again. We only have to expend 1 supply now. And then the British are going to defend because they have to. So we will remove a supply for them, which I just learned I was supposed to do right away. 1 infantry. And that's a 3. He is supported by artillery, so that is technically a hit. The artillery, that's a 10, so that's a no. We got 2 tanks. It's real close, 4, but not close enough. And then we've got 2 fighters, which will be 4s. And there's a hit. Take another infantry. And the bomber. And there is a definite hit. So they did a lot better that round. So now the Brits, 5 infantry at a 3. 1, 2, 3 hits. Wow. Wow. It's 3, 2 artillery. No hits. 1 anti-tank gun. It's a 3, which is a hit. 3 Matildas. And that's 3 more hits. Wow.
Wow.
And the bomber. If this hits, I will be astounded. Nope. Real close though. Second time. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow.
Oh man, I feel like wow.
Devastating. That is a big gaping hole. Now, the Germans are going to be able to come in and this thing called a can opener. It's very well known Axis and Allies tactic, but you use a friendly country to kind of punch your way through, and that's opening the can, right? So then I think technically you're supposed to use like blitzing, and the term can be used to kind of do a double whammy against the opponent. So Italy went and then Germany will go before the UK gets to go and put more reinforcements down here. Now, they did take out some infantry. They lost all their air power and everything they had over here ready to go in order to do it, and it just wasn't worth it. If I knew that that was gonna... I mean, the British dice on that second round of combat were just absolutely on fire. The Germans, they're gonna be able to get... Let's see. I mean, they'll be able to get everything... I mean, it all worked out. It sucks that the Italians lost all their air power, but next turn, the Germans will be able to get all this mechanized stuff. Basically, they're gonna be able to attack with everything they could, except for I'm an idiot, and I left these Stukas over here.
I ain't got a good brain.
And they are not in range. It is our first time, so we're gonna have a couple oopsies here and there. I know I've said this like 3 times already, but just the more I'm playing this game, the better I'm getting at it, the faster the turns are going, the less I have to look at the rule book, although I still have to look at the rule book like every 6 seconds. There's something to it. The complexity, man, it's fun. We're gonna get on to round 5 and see if Rommel can make his good old last push, because realistically, this is the last chance. I mean, if they don't take it with what they got there, nobody on the Axis side has enough of anything to be able to do anything in return. We're only 2 turns away from Torch, and then the Americans are coming in. Can Rommel make it happen? We'll find out at the end of round 5. Well, unfortunately, yeah, about that. Let's break this down here. It's over. They won. Axis won. Turn 5. Like the first country that goes at round 5. It's over. They took Cairo. They did it. I think I know what I did wrong as a British. I left all the stuff out here, thinking I was gonna block it. The British rolled really bad. Now, I'll play how that battle went right here. I don't think they're going to take it. This is it. I don't think they have enough coming because I screwed up the Benghazi convoy. So this is it. I think this is the last chance they're going to have to crack at this. So let's get set up on the dice. So, we don't have any air power because still, trying to figure this out. And the stacking limits are probably the #1 thing in this game that's causing me to mess up. That's alright, because it's either do or die. We have 6 German tanks. We'll do them first. Do this the right way and take a supply from the British, because they're going to defend. They can't go anywhere. And we've got 5, 6. Is that a hit? That is not a hit. 2 hits. And then we've got 2 mechs, which are at 2, so probably not gonna hit. Oh, we got a 1. So 3. The Brits are gonna take 2 casualties on infantry and 1 on artillery. The 2 infantry at 3. 1 hit. 2 artillery also at a 3. 1 more hit. Anti-tank gun that I probably should have done first, but we're learning and whatever.
Well, I've got brain damage on the side of my brain, and I don't know what side, left or right, and it ate a hole out my brain. And the doctor told my wife when they come to get me out of the hospital, mental institution, he said, I'm gonna tell you, his brain cell is eat up like a pile of cigarette ashes. But I don't know which cell it is in my head.
This is also a 3, but if it is a hit, then a tank gets to go immediately. And no. And then we've got 3 Matildas with 1 hit. I also realized I forgot to detonate my mines, which is totally gonna screw this up. 1 bomber. Also apologize if you hear commotion above. I'm in my wife's basement. I normally do this like late at night when everybody's sleeping, so you don't get a bunch of noise contamination. It's the middle of the day. It's kind of a dreary day outside, so I figured this would be a good day to do this. But consequently, there's all kinds of stomping and whatever going on. The vacuum cleaner, really? She knows I'm down here too. So the bomber. This is a 1, I think. Yes. 2! That was close, but no, so 3 hits. So the Germans are definitely gonna lose a mech. They're gonna have to lose a tank. I guess on the plus side, they now have 5 units, so that's only gonna cost 1 supply, and they're going to press the attack. You know, they actually might do this. So we'll take another supply from the Brits. They're not gonna run. And then we've got 5. 5. 1, 2, 2. 2 hits. The artillery and the anti-tank guns are what we're losing, because I really don't want to give up that bomber. They're at a 3. And no hits. And then we've got 3 Matildas at 5. Also no hits. This is not looking good, fellas. And then the bomber. 2 again. British didn't get any hits. Oh, this battle's such a mess. Polar supplies. So it's 5 German tanks. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. They took it. So we got 3 Matildas. Well, there's 2 hits. And then that bomber. I think I did them a real disservice. The other thing I messed up really bad on was I forgot to detonate the mines. And I was like, yes, I don't wanna go back and do that. You're like, oh wait, I didn't like how that turned out, so let me just go change it. Like, yeah, when you're playing by yourself, you can do stuff like that, but it's not a good habit I like to get into. So it's like it got forgot. That's how it goes in the game sometimes. I think that really did have a big effect. I'm really kind of impressed with how the mines work as far as being able to stop movement. I think that would have made a difference. Maybe giving the Brits a little more survivability here. They did just completely fall on their face. The second round of combat, they did not score a single hit. And maybe I should have lost the bomber right away, but I'm thinking that's expensive. You need to hold on to that because it's gonna be 3 more turns till you can get something like that in here. Going forward, wait until Torch to do things like buy bombers and battleships. I can't help but feeling like if I would have been able to hold on, the Axis could have come close to taking it anyway, because there really wasn't that much more stuff coming next round. And I really like this game. I don't want to just pack it all up and then, you know, let it go till next time. So what I think we're gonna do is I think we are going to just reset this. This is gonna be the end of this video. There's gonna be a rematch here. I wasn't planning on doing a particular version of the game like twice in a row, but I feel like you have to. The Axis won it fair and square. The Italians really punched above their weight when they needed to. The Germans in the end, they got it done. The next video on this channel, no, I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be soon, because we all know how that works. I make a video on this channel like every 6 months. So we are going to say goodbye for now. If you haven't done so already, please make sure that you hit that like button. That will help to spread this video to other people who love Axis and Allies. And if you don't want to miss the rematch on this game, where we're going to try and give the Allies some redemption and maybe not be so stupid, then hit that subscribe button and click the bell. This has been Destroya Dan. Thanks for watching, and remember that you always win when you play with yourself.